Bra Guy here with another Pixels Refreshed. Feel free to click the like button and subscribe if you're interested. Notifications are over in the corner. Today we're going to be continuing our Metroid Dread preparation month. So, anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. Cool. Got some fog coming in there. So this is Metroid 5, which means that it comes after Metroid Fusion. So they're making a very clear point that it's part of the timeline, and they're making a clear point that it's after all of the other Metroids. Because for those that don't know, Metroid 1 takes place first, and then I think I can't remember whether it's Prime 1, 2, 3, or if it's 2, then Prime 1, 2, 3. But either way, it's Prime 1, 2, and 3 fit in there, and then afterwards it's Super Metroid comes after that, and then Fusion's the last one in the timeline. So right off, I mean, you can see some lower geometry than you would see on like higher end consoles. You're getting a lot of these kind of like harsh outlines that you can see the base geometry, which I mean, they're gonna do the best they can with Switch. They can't do tessellation or anything really to round this out. There's just no way the Switch has enough resources to doing that. I like this fibrous tissue, and the art direction is pretty good. Like, I really like the colors and how they assembled this, getting this blue and the red to work together. I do kind of wish this would bulge out a little bit more with the blue sections, especially around the elbows. It looks a little bit narrow, but overall pretty cool. A lot of aliasing going on back here. I'm wondering what the native resolution is. Could be dynamic resolution and just be different every frame too. So right away, one of the things that bothered me, I think the first time I watched this trailer, is the shadows. There are shadows and there is real-time lighting, but there seems to be something strange about, I guess it's the reflective property of the material, because it seems to counteract the shadows. So you can see the shadow carries across here, but anywhere where this material is reflecting heavily or is trying to appear like that, you're losing the shadow. So you don't see the shadow continue across here. There's just kind of weirdness in those specific spaces. This robot design is pretty cool. I like the way that it unfolds and stuff. It's neat. The way it wrapped underneath itself was awesome. Cool. So I did that scene there. I did do a GIF trying to capture the nature of it. That was pretty fun to do. So, anyways, yeah, that was one thing that I did work on for fun around Metroid Dread. I really like this fog smoke effect trying to come off there. And the way that this unit chases is just creepily robotic. A lot of interesting effects going on there. These environments are pretty cool. They have like a Chozo statue in there. Kind of the typical bugs and stuff that you see in Metroid. Oh, gotta turn it down a little bit. See, this is where I'm kind of worried, because the one thing that bothered me about Samus Returns was the parry system. Because in Samus Returns, you had so many enemies that you had to parry, or you couldn't hurt them. So if you missed the parry, then you just have to wait for them to do the animation again to parry, and it slowed down Metroid a lot. So I wasn't a huge fan of that specific feature. If it's optional, that's fine, but if it's the only way to make enemies vulnerable, I don't know if I like that. Those attacks look cool. They have the eye watching you, which is typical. So when they had the green one come down, I wonder if that's saying that you've somehow converted that specific unit. It's like a Chozo in the foreground there. Okay, so you're hiding. So that was very similar to Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission. They had hiding sections like that where you were in Zero Suit. Fire particles. That area there. So I did do where is it? Not this one. I tried to incorporate this area and I outright drew it in pixel art. Maybe I'll pull it up and show all of the scenes and stuff that I drew to try to capture the essence of that. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool scene. So, oh, it has a speed boost too. That's interesting. The damaged version was pretty cool. So this, obviously, they read all the textures and the stuff on it. October 8th. Cool. Yeah, so in general, I mean, I think the tech behind it is pretty interesting. I had fun when I was doing my pixel art version, trying to capture that kind of fog off the side of the level. You can see that here. When you come into the main area, I animated my own kind of frame by frame drawing the fog, but there's something pretty cool about doing particle effects like that in games. So anyways, I think that there's really neat stuff going on here. Like, obviously they're far more limited than, I don't know, the Mercury Steam would probably want to be. Like, I'm sure they could do a heck of a lot more with this on, you know, PS4 or whatnot. Not that they ever would, or on the Switch 2, preferably. But yeah, it's interesting to see how their engine tech has progressed, because they were really, really good with their engine tech when they released the original Lord of Shadow. So they had a pretty like strong technical basis. That was one of the better looking PS3, Xbox 360 games. So to see kind of where they went with, and their contracts with both Konami on Castlevania and Nintendo were pretty interesting. But ultimately, we're all hoping this is their best game, because Castlevania Mirrors of Fate was okay, and you know, Samus Returns was pretty good, but it wasn't amazing. It was enjoyable, but it wasn't my favorite Metroid by any means. Mind you, it was a remake of not my favorite Metroid either. So anyways, that was Metroid Dread. 1 second, I'm just pull up my GIF and show kind of the stuff that I studied and drew. I didn't have the final version on my computer, but this is the first two areas that I ended up doing for that specific image. So it's a bit, anyways, they were kind of fun to study the different kind of regions that they had in this and how specifically they looked. Anyways, yeah, hope you liked the video. It was fun for me to do. It's a game that I'm looking forward to cautiously. I love Metroid. Metroid's one of my favorite series of all time. I'm a little wary. If it was Metroid Prime 4 and it was Retro doing it, I'd feel a little bit more confident, but I'm hopefully optimistic. Metroid 2, Samus Returns, was pretty good, but it wasn't like my favorite. So hopefully this one is a step in the right direction. Hopefully the parries aren't like mandatory to hurt certain enemies and things like that. I like Samus's design. I think that's pretty cool. The enemy design's pretty good. I don't know if I like the tube section in the middle of it, but for the most part it's pretty cool, and the way it loops around and moves and stuff is suitably creepy. Seems like they're trying to create a fusion vibe, which I love fusion, so that's fine with me to have that kind of sense of chasing and whatnot. Although fusion was a bit slow because you had to keep waiting for talking and other things before you could go to areas, so it wasn't as open as the other ones. But anyways, yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.